Peter came here to Rome in the late 50s or early 60s of the first century. Why did he come here? Well, he knew that Jesus was the King of the Jews, and that meant by extension, the Lord of all the nations. So of course he came here to this center of world empire. He probably settled in this neighborhood of Trastevere behind me. In the first century, it was the Jewish quarter. Peter proclaimed Jesus risen from the dead. Tradition says that St. Mark, the first evangelist, was Peter's companion and translator. Many say that the content and rhythm of Peter's preaching can be seen in the Gospel of Mark. Peter died around 65 or 66 as the most prominent victim of Nero's persecution of the early church. He was crucified just a few hundred yards from where I'm standing, in between the Janiculum and Vatican hills, outside the city walls in those days. He was crucified most likely in this circus of Nero. Along the spina, they called it, along the spine of that circus, there stood a great obelisk that Augustus had brought back from Egypt. If Peter was crucified there, it's probably one of the last things that he saw. It's currently standing right in the center of St. Peter's Square. After Peter's death, they cut down his body. They buried him in a little cemetery up on the Vatican Hill. In the 4th century, the first Christian emperor, Constantine, built a great basilica on the site. That lasted for many centuries, till the end of the 15th century when it was torn down and the present great Basilica of St. Peter's was erected. In the middle of the 20th century, Pope Pius XII gave permission for excavations underneath St. Peter's. They discovered that 1st century cemetery, and they found on one block of stone a fascinating bit of graffiti. It said, "Petros eni," Peter is within. When they opened up that grave, they found bones of a man between the age of 60 and 70, a man sturdily built. Here's what I want you to see. Christianity is not a philosophy. It's not an abstract set of convictions. Christianity is based upon a person, this Yeshua of Nazareth, who is the friend of Simon Peter. If you look in the first letter of John, you find this line: "We proclaim to you the word of life." Sounds abstract enough, but then he goes on, "which we have seen with our eyes and which our hands have touched." Now that's the foundation of Christianity. The word of life that people like Simon Peter knew. Simon Peter saw him with his eyes, touched him with his hands. That is the personal foundation upon which Christianity rests. It's all kind of ironic and edgy stuff to take that obelisk that was right around here, right in the center of Nero's circus, and it was Rome's way of saying, hey, we are triumphant, we conquered Egypt, we took their obelisk, and now this is our big, and now we put it up there, and say, well, you didn't win. I know you crucified Peter, but look, here's Peter's church, and there's Peter's successor lives right up there, and that's the obelisk he saw. So it's all meant to be kind of a gentle in your face. You know, so I do revel in that when I come here.